Hi, my name is Cheryl Gibson, and I'm the founder of Big Life, Big Dreams. We are the company that turns your passions into profits and your dreams into reality. And today I just wanted to take the time to give you a little bit of background about my backstory as to why I actually got into self-development and got into business coaching. And here's my why. So I married pretty young, right out of high school. I married my high school sweetheart. Unfortunately, it was a bad marriage because he had a drug problem that I soon discovered to my detriment. By the time I was pregnant with my son, Stephen, I knew exactly that this marriage wasn't going to work. But I tried. I kept trying deep down inside, even though I knew it wasn't going to work. But one day I actually came home from work, and one of my neighbors told me that my husband had been holding a yard sale and was selling my clothes and whatever else he could sell, household goods. I remember he even sold the kids Spud McKenzie towels. So just to think, who would think that somebody would do something like that? But unfortunately, this was the character that I had married. And then I remember one day also looking for the rent money. I couldn't find the freaking rent money, and I'm like searching frantically. I remember him holding my son, and I'm like, do you know where the rent money is? I'm looking everywhere. I had just went to go and get my hair done and got ready to pay the girl, and I didn't have the money to do it. And because I was already a customer that came regularly, she's like, that's all right, Cheryl, no big deal, just pay me next time when you're here, or just come back and pay me. So she was cool with it, but I was freaking out frantically because I knew I had the rent money with that. So I remember coming home trying to search for it, and he just watched me as I searched. I'm turning over everything, and that was just a little snippet of what was going on back then. But then the final straw for me actually came when he put his hands on me. And like I said, we were going through a lot of turmoil, and I knew that this marriage wasn't going to work. So I was beginning the separation process, and he had agreed to it. He's like, okay, let's go ahead and separate. And I remember going to pick up my kids from his mom's house, and he informed me that, oh, I'm coming home tonight. And I go, no, you're not. We haven't figured out anything. No, you're not. But I had decided, you know what, I'm not going to argue with him. I'm just going to get the kids, get in the car, and I'm out. And that's what I did. So I'm getting the kids, I'm packing them up, and he's in there talking to his mom in another room. So I'm like, you know what? I got it. I'll just be really quiet, get in the car, and I'm out. And I remember putting the kids in their car seats, buckling them up, and the whole deal. And put the key in the ignition, and I looked and I saw him down at the driveway. I saw him on the driveway, and he was down the way. And he was approaching. I'm like, oh my God, let me just hurry up. And I remember actually getting the car started, actually start the ignition, and before I knew it, he was right there at the window and actually grabbed the keys right out of the ignition. And he's like, what the hell are you doing? What do you think you're doing? And I'm like, I'm leaving. But before I could even get out leaving, he slapped the hell out of me. I saw stars. Just like in a cartoon where you see the cartoon characters get hit really hard, and before you know it, they're seeing stars go around their head. I literally saw stars. And some other men saw what was going on. I remember them coming, approaching him, and they're like, hey, man, you shouldn't be hitting her. Don't put your hands on her. And he was just out of control. He's like, hey, this is my wife. I'll do what the hell I want to do. If you don't get out of my face, man, it's me and you. And he was getting ready to fight these guys, and they backed off. They didn't want to get involved. And I remember his mom coming out, and she's like, if you don't leave her alone, leave her alone. And she actually came and stood in between us. And he had jerked me out the car. But she came, and she actually stood between us. And she says, don't you put your hands on her again. And he said, Mom, I'm telling you, if you don't get out of my way, his eyes are closed. I can see this right now. His eyes are closed. Her, Mom, if you don't get out of my way, I'm going to hit you. This is my wife. I'm doing what I want to do. And I remember her saying, oh, well, when you hit me, you better take me out. Because if you don't, I'm going to take you out. It was like that. And her daughter came and grabbed her away. And then here I was all alone. I'm like by myself. And this is when they didn't even have cell phones, you guys. And I remember going home with him. So he's driving us, we're driving home, and he's driving crazy in the whole deal. And I remember trying to put up signs. He stopped at a liquor store, and I remember thinking, oh my God, if I can just put up a sign and somebody can help me. And I did. I put up help. But people looked at it and they just walked by. They didn't want to get involved. They didn't want to get involved. So anyway, we get to the house and he's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He's going back and forth as to, oh, I love you. I want us to stay together. You know, forgive me for doing that to you. You know I could be a good man and all this other good stuff. And then the next minute, he's like, I can't stand you. What kind of bitch do you think you are to put me in this type of a predicament anyway? Got me like this, got me all out. And he was just back and forth. He was totally out of control. And I just knew that if I could survive that night, that I was going to be okay. And the other thing that he said to me as he was driving to the house was, you know what, now I know why Babe Rose's brother did what he did. And what Babe Rose's brother had done had been, he did murder-suicide. He had killed his wife, and he had killed his children, and he had killed himself after his wife tried to leave him. And now here was my abusive husband telling me that he understood why this guy had done that. And here I was in that same situation. So I was scared out of my mind, but I believe in prayer. So I definitely was praying throughout that whole night, and I know it's the Lord that saved me that night. But I had made a promise to myself that if I ever got out of that I was going to change my life and I would never put my kids in that type of a situation again. And my mom had told me not to marry this guy. So to have to turn around, go back home, confess to your mom that she was right and that this guy had done all these things to me was embarrassing, humiliating. I was broken down. But I had to get away from him. The kids gave me the strength to get away from him. So I did. I got away from him. And I knew that what I needed to do was make a change in my life completely. So I began to go to work, and I saw hard work. I saw my mom working hard for us. And my mom married my dad twice and divorced. And my dad was an alcoholic. And what I began to see was that here it was, I was repeating this pattern. Here it was, I had married an abusive person. I had married somebody that was an addict. My dad was an alcoholic, and he wasn't abusive, praise God. But he was an alcoholic. And here it was, I had married a drug addict. And the worst thing for me was that this guy was freaking, he was violent too. But I did get away from him, and I went back home, had to tuck my tail, go back home with the kids. I made an arrangement with my mom that I'll pay you so much as I get back on my feet, and I did that. And very quickly I was able to move out of her house and get my own little apartment. We didn't have much, just had a bed for myself, a bed for my daughter, and a crib for my baby boy. And I had peace of mind. That was what I needed at that time. But I was broken down, and a relationship, I didn't even think about getting into a relationship. I didn't want a relationship. All I wanted to do was to figure out how to make some money so that I can take care of my kids, because we were living check to check. I was working hard. I was throwing papers at night, working a full-time job, working a split shift at that, and going to school. I was willing to do whatever it took so that I could help me and my children get out of that situation that we were in. And I did those things. But I was still working hard. I was still broken down. I was still living check to check. And I knew that I didn't want that, that I wanted a better life for myself. I wanted a better life for my kids. I wanted to be able to make my mom proud. I mean, I was so embarrassed at that time after what had happened to me. And I kept asking, why? Why me? Why did this happen to me? I'm a good person. I went to school. I was a good wife to him. I did everything you're supposed to do, but yet here it was, nothing was working out for me. So what I did was begin to seek out and search. And something about when you ask why, you know what, your whys get answered. And I began to read some self-development, got into Tony Robbins, began to build myself back up, my self-esteem. And I knew what I needed to do, other than having a job, was that I needed to start my own business. And that set me on another direction of trying to find out all the different pieces that I needed to be able to put that business together. So once I got educated in it, and I have a master's in business, so got lots of education here, it's like, how do you use it then? How do you put the pieces together? And I'm getting this piece here, I'm getting that piece there. And finally, I figured it out. I figured it out. It was that I needed to create this product that I was looking for. Once I figured out all the pieces that was needed, it was that, you know what? You need the mindset stuff so you can get your head straight. Then you need to be able to have all the components, everything that you need, the right people, the right resources, everything you need so that you can start your business and start it quickly. And I figured that out. And most of all, what I figured out, you guys, was that this was my mission. That I had gone through all that mess so that I can be in a position so that I can help and teach others that are in a similar situation, that are going through some mess, that you can get out of that, that you can be empowered, that you can have whatever it is that you really, really want and you desire, and that there's a way. And all you have to do is ask, and you have to find those right people, the right places, the right things, so that you can get on the right course. And most of all, just model success. I started watching different mentors, and my mentors are, I love Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor. I'm a thinking into results coach because it taught me to think better. And now I believe that that is what my mission is to help people, help women specifically, think better so that they can do better for themselves, for their children, for their families, for their legacies, so that they can actually turn their own passions into profit. So I just wanted to share with you a little background as to what got me interested into self-development. And like I said, I remember having a hard time having to go back home, tuck tail with moms, but moms was always great. Mom was always there for me. And when she found out that I was struggling, she opened up her kitchen. She's like, take these bags and you go shopping. And I remember shopping right there in my mom's kitchen. So my mom's always been there for me and supported me along this whole journey when I made my mistakes, and she celebrated my successes as well. And now it's such a blessing. My mom is 83 years old. Unfortunately, she's fighting dementia. But now I'm in a position where I can actually help my mom. And my mom now lives with me. And my goal is to continue to take good care of my mom, somebody that took care of me, and just to give back to those that really care, love you, and support you. And my mom was there for me. And my goal, like I said, is to make her proud. And I believe I'm doing that for her. And I want to continue to do that and even make my kids proud and let them know that they can have whatever it is that they want. And I'm blessed, you guys. I'm truly blessed. I'm remarried now to a terrific guy who's got my back, who supports me with everything that I do now. So I just wanted to, like I said, give you a little background history as to how I got started in this field and in bridging the self-development component with the business component so that you have everything you need to be successful in your business. Have a great life, you guys. Have a great day. Bye. I'm out.